Dunn, and I'm part of the FYR Partners group, and I'm so excited to be sharing today's topic with you. My puppy Chewy is 10 and a half months, and we have another one coming. So, talk about social selling. Lots of people love dogs, animals, pets, all the things. But you have to figure out what is appropriate for you when sharing some of these things. So while I share lots of my puppy in my personal life, and that does really well for me, it may or may not be the case for you. So let me go ahead and get these slides up and see if I can do this. Maybe not start at the end. Technology is not my first language, but I'm getting better. And it always makes it fun if you guys have questions, concerns, something to share, to make it interactive, right? Because at the end of the day, listening to someone chat for 40 minutes to an hour can be quite daunting, right? But I like to think that I'm a little bit interesting and try and keep things as fun as possible. It's awesome seeing some really great familiar faces. Good morning, Lars. Good morning, Kat, Lara. Spoke to Kristen this morning also. And then some newer faces too. So awesome. Love to see that. Good morning, Anita. And Ivy's there too. And Karush, if I said that right. If I said it wrong, my apologies. But good morning to everybody. And if you're seeing this on the replay, even better. I love it. So I really wanted to talk about follow-up formula, right? Like sell without being salesy, because at the end of the day, we all know that everybody wants to buy, but nobody wants to be sold. It's like the worst feeling. But especially when you really want something, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I know sometimes when I really have wanted to purchase something and I go in and the salesperson is just so hard coming at me that I end up not buying because it's too much, right? And then there's other times where I could purchase, but I really don't really need to, but the salesperson is so good that I like want to buy. And that kind of is the idea here, right? Because in real estate, everybody, I don't know about this, but in my market at least, probably every third person that you meet is in real estate. So, how are we differentiating ourselves from those around us? And what are we doing to kind of keep ourselves top of mind and aware? All right, let's see. Okay, cool. So, when is the last time that you followed up with a lead and it didn't feel like selling? But the first question I actually want to ask is, what is a lead anyway? And it's just a person, you guys. A lead is just a human being. It's just somebody that has shown some level of interest in buying or selling or learning more about real estate, right? And so if you don't even understand that a lead is not a transaction, then you got to go a couple steps back. Because at the end of the day, if you are not able to create a connection with somebody, then there is no conversion. They will stay at arm's length. They will always be just a lead or someone in your network, right? So I want to go back to that first question. When was the last time that you followed up with a lead and it didn't feel like selling? And it wasn't just oh, hey, how's it going? Or, oh, I haven't talked to you in forever. What's new? So rather than, again, just kind of do things the way probably a lot of people do it, let's see if we can break outside of that box and do it a little bit different. So, why follow up fails for most agents? A lot of the common mistakes are just relying on your calls and emails, right? I'm all here for automations, but just sending out auto emails is not it, guys. Like that is so 2000 probably. I don't even know. But it's a little bit outdated, right? Now, I'm not saying that calls and emails are not good, but there's other ways that we can stay top of mind, right? And the reason that a lot of people fail with this is because they're not staying top of mind between the transactions, right? I think that there's a statistic, and I should have probably looked it up, but there's a statistic along the lines, and if anyone's in the chat and can pull it up really quick, that says like 80% or more of buyers or sellers do not use the same agent on their following transaction. And it's not because anything went wrong with the transaction. It's not because they didn't like the agent. It's because the agent didn't follow up. They weren't there when they were ready again, right? They were forgotten because they only showed up when they wanted something. So I don't want that to be you, and I certainly don't want it to be me, right? So remembering that relationships or excuse me, follow up is about relationships, not just the transactions. Because the reality is that when you have a really good relationship with somebody, not only are they going to use you as their realtor, they're going to remember you and then tell their friends and family and the random person at the coffee shop about you. Now, having said that, there's like three types of people. The one that is going to say your name no matter where they are and what they're doing. If they hear someone talk about real estate, they're going to say your name. There's also the second type of person who, no matter what you do or how good you were, they're just never going to say your name. And then you have the person who will say your name if someone asks specifically, right? So having relationships with all of these types of people is really important in having a really solid business in real estate, in my opinion. So what does social selling really mean? A lot of people are posting, their videos online. Oh my gosh, that's what I wanted to do. There's a girl, and I'm gonna see if I can find her. I want to show you guys some really good examples of social selling. But it's not just posting listings, right? It's not just it's more about connection marketing. How are we connecting with people? And you really want to be visible, right? On all levels. And why is someone going to follow you, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram, whatever you choose? Why are they going to follow you? Is it if you're only posting about real estate, it's going to get boring quick when they're not interested in buying or selling, right? But if you're also doing things in your community and you are showing up authentically, sharing about water first and then coffee maybe after, just being visible, being in front of people through your posts and sharing is really good. I want to share this really quick because I'm sure you guys have had this situation also. But I had a young couple that I sold a property to. I don't know, I think it was like late 2018, 2019, maybe. And then a few years later during COVID, the prices in Florida have gone up significantly, right? And so they made a ton of money on that house and purchased something else. Now, this time they did not use me, this one in the middle. I wasn't really doing a good job posting about real estate. I hadn't really said much about real estate in a while, and they saw my story about how I had just sold something or I was taking a lockbox off of one property to move it somewhere else. It was something similar to that. And I got a text almost immediately after posting that saying, "Oh my gosh, we're so excited that you're still in real estate. Will you help us sell our townhome?" And of course, initially I was like, what do you mean you have a townhome? What happened to the house that I sold you, right? But I had no one to be upset with but myself in that moment for realizing that I had not stayed top of mind. I had not kept in touch with that person. I had fallen back just like most other realtors, right? So sharing what you're doing, where you're having successes, what's going on in the market, all of those things, they will lead to buyers and sellers. That was a repeat client, and I actually have their listing now. So that was really recent and really exciting. So I really like to use three different channels, okay? And I call them channels because like you choose the one that works for you, or honestly, if you can go for all of these, then you're gonna have um, a really good momentum going forward, right? And at the end of the day, none of us really want to be on the real estate roller coaster, right? I got off of the real estate roller coaster by being consistent with my calls to leads because I like to purchase leads. It's easier for me. But then also, I like to keep my local people happy by being present on social media. So being visible and just engagement, right? 80% of what you're posting should be about your interests, right? Your general interests, maybe the real estate market and some of the local things that you do. And I'm going to go deeper into this, but it should be more about your interests so that people want to follow you when they're not buying and selling, right? And then the 20% should be real estate. Now, with texting, personal direct touches and interests, a lot of my people do not live in my area. I am a secondary, tertiary, I'm just a melting pot for people from the Midwest who do not live here full time, right? So I want to make sure that I am touching base with them because they're not always here. And I'm doing that through text. And also, I like to send video because a lot of people don't do well with video. So I'm curious, drop it in the chat if you like video or if you're like, no, I can't do video. Or if you have something that you're doing right now that is succeeding in your area using social media. I'd love to hear about that. So at some point, share that. Yes, Anna. Anna does awesome with video. I think video is just a really great way for people to get an idea of who you are, and a little bit about, yeah, who you are and what it would be like potentially to work with you, right? So Kat says she used to be really good with video, but it's gone by the wayside. Ooh, yeah, girl, get back in that for sure. Okay, let's keep it moving. So engagement really kind of is like the new lead generation, right? So stop posting and ghosting. If you are doing this, stop. I am guilty of this at times, if I'm being honest, but I can tell you that the more I get on and actually comment, the better I am with things, right? So stop just posting and then getting off. When you get on, I would spend 10 to 15 minutes going through your home feed and commenting and liking and actually engaging with your community on social media. This is huge, right? Reply to them, get involved in their lives. You don't have to be going super deep into stuff. It doesn't have to be something that is not authentic to you. But if you see somebody doing something, or they just got a new puppy, or they had a new baby, or something really exciting is going on in their life, comment on it. Reply. What is better than when you go back and look at your social media and somebody actually replied to something that was really meaningful to you that you posted, right? And then, because in doing that, you're going to start showing up on their feed more too. And the more you show up on their feed, the better chance they're going to remember you the next time they want to buy or sell, right? Or the next time that they have a real estate question, or the next time that a friend asks them, or that they're in a coffee shop and they hear someone talking about real estate. Oh, if you need somebody, you got to call my guy Lars. He knows what he's doing. He's nailing it. And if they're in Ohio, maybe they're talking about cat at the coffee shop. We don't know. But they won't be if you're not showing up and if they're not seeing your post, because the algorithms are wild. They'll show you crazy people sometimes, and then you'll be like, what happened to that person? And you'll go and click on their page, and they've been posting, but for some reason they weren't in your algorithm anymore. This is a really great way to do it. Also, you can create a top 20 list, right? Create a top 20 list of past clients, sphere, and actively engage with their content weekly or bi-weekly. Now, you can go back and think about the person. Are they type 1, type 2, or type 3 of the people that I mentioned before? They're always going to remember to mention your name. Sometimes they'll mention your name, or some people are just never going to mention your name. So be cognizant of that when you're creating this past clients or sphere list, and just when you're actively engaging. Again, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. And if they're not posting, it's going to be maybe more challenging. But make sure that the ones that you're choosing for this are people who are posting actively or that are on social media quite often. It will make it easier for you, and be much more authentic in your responses. And then also, content that builds trust, right? What types of content are you sharing? If it's coming to real estate, let's talk about that for a minute. So, educational local tips like behind the scenes stuff, success stories, right? Maybe you're talking about, hey, I'm trying to think of like an example. Interest rates are really high right now, but there's lots of different ways that you can work around it, right? So maybe you're working with a buyer and you just got a seller to give them $10,000 towards their closing costs, right? That's happening again now, right? We're also seeing in some areas that there's multiple offers. I think all of these things need to be talked about because so many people are watching the news and they're only watching different outlets, right? They need to see what's actually happening in their local market and even around the country because, we all know people all over, right? So if I saw that Kat posted something up in Ohio about that she's got a multiple offer situation, I'm going to probably reach out to Kat at some point just as a fellow realtor and say, hey, wait a minute, what's going on in your market? Because I'm not really seeing that in my market. Or I'm seeing that in my market too. Um, how are you getting around these things? How are you winning these bids? Those types of things, right? But you won't know those things. You won't be able to share those local tips and those behind the scenes and those success stories if you're not engaging, right? And you have to be thinking of the consumer or the buyer or seller as another human who might potentially want to purchase or sell. And what would they want to know, right? So the things that you think are really silly and mundane, those are things that people want to see, interestingly enough. And also something as simple as me posting water first every morning it has gained me so much traction with people that no matter where I go in my area, everybody knows me as Water First. And a lot of people, they know that I sell real estate, but they don't even think about drinking water first. And now that's the first thing that they think of. So how cool is that? Just finding different interests, right? It's something that is really simple. Personal things are can be, again, I mentioned this before, this is not for everybody, but it can be for you, right? What's happening in your world? And we have some agents that do a really good job of sharing some personal stuff, but not on a personal like dumping level, right? You don't want to be dumping your personal life out there, but sharing personal things that are going on in your life are helpful. Like for instance, my puppy, right? And most people are starting to gather that I'm getting another one later this week. So that's going to be a really fun journey for people to follow. And people are always looking for something to follow, something interesting to learn about someone or, puppies, kittens, kids, life events are things that people want to know about and they do want to get involved more than you think, actually. And then, of course, lifestyle, community events, market insights. These are all little things that you can share about things that are already happening. And we're going to go a little bit deeper into these. But this content that builds trust is really key. But it's only going to build trust if you're sharing authentically. If you're sharing to sell, the energy is going to come off that way. So remember that the intention behind the information that you're sharing is also really, really important because words matter. And, you know, that's why they call them spells, right? Kat says educating the public via socials is important. Yeah, it becomes like, I think they call it infotainment. And I do think that it's really important. So, I want to give you these practical challenges because I think that this is something that anybody can do, right? And they're really simple and it's kind of a no-brainer if you're looking to be more consistent and be more persistent even in your efforts. These are some really great options. And some of you are probably already doing a lot of these, but if you're not, maybe take a quick screenshot and share these, but save them for later. Engaging with 10 sphere people daily for 10 minutes, right? And that doesn't mean like it doesn't have to be 10 minutes each. It could even just be going to their Facebook page from that list of 20 people, right? It doesn't matter. Just find 10 people to engage with or share information with for about 10 minutes, right? Just shoot a quick text, make a call, like whatever it is, right? Um, every morning you can open up your Facebook because this is about social selling, right? So open up your Facebook and see whose birthday is today. And if you're doing this already, drop it in the chat. I love it. This is one that I'm not going to lie, I do go in and out of. I'm not always perfect at it, but I am getting better. And I will tell you that one of the biggest benefits of sending a birthday message on Facebook is that, again, now you're starting to pop up on their algorithm again. Now, if it's ideally done, it's not just sending a happy birthday message from the page of the birthday where you can just click and hit send, right? That is a way to do it. But if you want to take it the next level, I would actually send a voice memo or a video message directly to their Facebook Messenger because that is not what people are doing. Lots of agents are hitting the happy birthday button, and that's great. It shows up on their feed. It'll probably still help with your algorithm and being more visible. But actually sending the video message or the video or the voice memo is next level. This actually shows that you took time out of your day to send this message, that you were thinking about this person. And, again, it's something different that not everybody is doing. And it really does feel nice when somebody goes out of their way to reach out to you, right? Lars says he does that every morning and he doesn't use the standard messages. He writes his own. Yeah, it's a big deal. And I love that you send video text, Lara. I think that's key. If you don't have somebody's text, that's okay. Just send it via the video, or excuse me, Facebook Messenger. It's fine. But that video or the voice memo really does make a big difference. I love that so many of you are already doing that. So text messages for impact. Okay, so here's something that it's very easy for me to do because as I mentioned previously, most of my clients are not here local. The ones that are here local, it's still easy. But I like to send a photo of their interests, right? If you're doing a really good job and you have really connected with your buyers and sellers, your leads, then you have an idea of what their interests are, right? And in that event, you can actually start sending them texts when you're out and about and you think of someone, right? This is something that I really enjoy doing because it's you're just like living your life and you're going from day to day activities and you just kind of come across something and it makes you think of that person. Now, my brain works this way. So if yours doesn't, maybe keep that list close by. And when you're somewhere kind of cool, maybe take a couple of pictures, even in the moment, if you're not sure who you're taking it for, have it, right? Because things like the beach or sunsets and sunrises, walks on the beach, your toes in the sand, right? My dog at the dog park, I'll take like a quick video snip, right? A happy hour menu at my favorite spot, the live music schedule for the weekend in my area, right? Things that I know are going to draw that buyer in and remind them, oh, yeah, I really do want to buy that property in Naples. I don't want to miss out on those sunsets anymore, right? I want to escape this cold weather. So, especially during the winter, we're coming up on fall here pretty quick. It's still so, so hot here right now. I'm not going to lie. But we've got winter coming around the corner. It's not that far off, right? So that is the time that I am definitely going to be messaging all of my people in the Midwest and up north and reminding them about the beach and how warm it is and how we're wearing shorts and sandals everywhere, right? And the food truck schedules and the community of their interest, right? Things that are going on around town. My favorite coffee shops. If I know somebody loves coffee, you can do the same thing with wine. Don't overcomplicate it, but make sure that you are actually keeping in mind that you just want to connect with people. People want connection. It is one of the main human needs is connection, right? And so as long as you're connecting, then you can have great conversations. And with great conversations, you will have amazing conversion rates, right? But without conversation, without connection, there is no conversion. Kristen said she's also gotten send out cards with personal message inside with either a profile pic or a fun picture of us for the birthdays and anniversaries. It was such a personal touch. And of course, yeah, of course you kept it. I love that. That's such a great idea. And I am gonna mention that in another way for impact. So I love that you received that. But texting photos of interests or like quick video clips is such an easy way to stay top of mind with people. And it's not that you're always selling them something, it's that you're thinking of them, and that's kind of nice thing too, is it's not like you're always just calling to sell them something or, you know, do something otherwise. It's literally, ooh, I don't know what I just did. Can you still see my slides? Oh, my screen. Here we go. Sorry. So yes. So text messaging for empaths. Market updates are also a really great thing that you can share with people, right? Just 1 to 2 sentences or blurbs of the most recent market changes. You can also share numbers with people. If you're a numbers person, I would choose 1 or 2 of the statistics that really hit for you. Or if you know that that specific statistic hits for your buyer or seller, share that one with them, right? I know that my market actually creates these infographics. You can share that too. You can share that on your social media, but you can just send that as a text message too, because a lot of buyers are waiting to see what's going to happen with the interest rates and they're watching very closely. So for you to make them feel seen, heard, and understood by also sharing those market impact reports and updates with them is huge because honestly, 86% of buyers they do not think that their agent understands their problem. So if you are not doing something to help them understand the market better, then this is a really great and simple way to do so. And it also kind of positions you as an authority in your market, which is also something that's really important that we should all be doing, right? Upcoming events that they might be interested in based on your previous conversations. What's going on in your market? Is there a cool, you know that they love craft beer and there's a craft beer event coming up in your area and you send them a picture of the flyer. Are you going to be here for this? For me, I'm always trying to figure out when are they going to be here without asking them, when are you going to be here? Because they're only here seasonally, right? Or they're only going to be here for that visit. And Sometimes they don't tell you right away when they're coming. And so I don't want to be texting them, when are you going to be here? But I can say, hey, this is coming up. Will you be here? Right? Or can I plan on seeing you there? Or those types of things. Right? And then Kristen mentioned this, it's similar. Annual home anniversary cards. If you don't have their birthdays because they're not on Facebook or you never asked or whatever, that's okay. But you can send them a home anniversary card because you know where they bought and you have their address. It is public record, but you also sold them the house, so you should have this information. Um, so make sure that, a handwritten card is something that less and less people are doing. Kristen even mentioned she saves those. You guys, this is like really easy things to do. And I love the idea of even making a personal one. That's going above and beyond, right? But a great opportunity to again just make them feel seen and heard and reminded. And sometimes people forget how long they've been in their house. You're like, oh my gosh, can you believe that you've been in your house for 5 years now? Congratulations. Here's what's going on in your neighborhood. And you could even share a little bit about what's going on in the neighborhood if you want. And, the house down the street sold for this, but I wouldn't use that opportunity for that. I would maybe share that in a different opportunity so that, again, it doesn't feel like they're always being sold every time you reach out. Anna said you can do home anniversary cards for sphere of influence events if you didn't sell them their house. Oh, I love that. And Lars said I always have the save the cards as well. Yeah, I save the cards too. It is really nice because we just don't get that many. Now, if we all start doing it and they get so many cards, then maybe they won't start keeping them. But that just shows how special it actually is if people are keeping things like this. Oh, where did it go? Okay, I clicked something, so hold on. I gotta find it again. Oh, jeez. Um, all right, I'm gonna stop sharing and see if I can figure that out because it disappeared for me. All right, we're back. And we're back. Thanks, guys. All right, community events was one. So if you have great partners like title, mortgage, home warranty, etc., find something that you're passionate about, and then could you offer an event supporting it? Right? So if there's something that maybe you want to collect money for, or I think it's in my next slide. Yes. Okay. So I have mentioned that I have a dog and he, I think, is very cute and he's always around. He's in my social media. People know about Chewy. And so when I am out and I don't have them, they ask me about him. So different things that you can do in your community. Again, it has to be authentic to you. And if you don't like dogs, then you would not hold a yappy hour, right? But if you do, you can do it at a local park or a local brewery. You can partner with a pet adoption agency in your area and have a donations event. People, I am telling you, I did this and it was really fun. And actually, I should do it again. Because I like dogs. The adoption centers always need towels, sheets, pillowcases, things that people already have in their house. So they don't even have to, you're not even asking for money. You're just saying, hey, we're going to be at this place for these couple of hours. If you have some old towels or washcloths or sheets or blankets, bring them by, right? And then maybe you have like an ice cream truck out there or something because it's summer and we're coming to the end, right? Or maybe you do a movie night in the park, or you have an ice cream social or a food truck Friday in a community that you really love, or maybe it's your own personal community and you want to connect more with the people in your neighborhood, right? Some sort of back to school bash. I don't know if you can do bounce houses. I thought that sounded really fun, except for the fact that there's probably some serious legal things with that. You might want to have people sign some sort of disclosure or something saying if I get hurt, it's not on you. But community events can be a really fun way to get involved and for people to see you, right? And then for the season, because we have some holidays and things coming up, what about doing like photos with Santa, right? People still have those things going on. You could go to the pumpkin patch and actually collab with the pumpkin patch probably and say, hey, I'm gonna do like you already have all this stuff out here. Do you mind if I bring in all my people? We're gonna have a little event and we're gonna take photos for them, right? And we'll give you maybe a percentage of the proceeds. Give them some reason to want you to want to have that there, right? I know there's some people that do pie giveaways. Or if your area has a lot of holiday lights, you could do like a little holiday light tour or map, right? There's so many different things that we can do that have nothing to do with real estate, but that will always tie back to real estate because real estate is about your real community, your surrounding area, right? And this is great too if you have friends, with EXP, we have our market is all over the country. So if you see somebody else doing something, make it your own, do it in your area. You don't have to recreate the wheels, right? Just take the wheel and roll it the way that you like it. So ultimately, gosh, I kind of went through that all really fast. Just be you, right? You're the only you that there is, and nobody can do for their clients what you can do, right? It is your energy that they are coming, for. They want to find somebody that they don't feel sold by, that they actually feel connected with, and that they will keep doing it with you. So keep showing up, being yourself, and for you, but also for your clients. Um, that's all I have for this part of it. But if you guys are interested, I will pull up a few people that I think are doing a really great job social selling. Um, Kat, did you have a question?
I actually just wanted to add something.
Oh, please.
Creating or becoming an admin in a local Facebook group. So my social media got about 36,000 views, or what do they call it?
In impressions.
Impressions or something. Anyway, 36,000, right around there, between 36 and 50, just depending on what I'm posting. I was blessed and I inherited a local Facebook group with 17,000 people. And that jumped to almost 250,000 impressions because I was personally posting in that group. So that counted towards my personal social, my personal Facebook page interaction. And I have added 4,000 people to the group, and probably in 3 months, 400 people, excuse me, in 3 months. And I've probably had more people following me and asking to be my friend from that page also. And I only do real estate twice a week on that page. Everything else is hyper local, commenting and engaging. I like every single post, so I know that I've kind of checked it to make sure it's followed all of my rules, because I did change the
Yeah.
rules. So that's just a huge way to get your social media up. Thanks, Lars. And I had no idea it would do that until one day I just checked my analytics and I was like, holy cow.
Yeah, that's huge. And that's an awesome share. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I am curious if you don't mind sharing one more thing with that.
Of course.
How how did it go? So obviously it was a group that you were already active in.
Mhm.
And then whatever happened and the person, the admin said, I don't want to do this anymore, or, here, would you be interested? How did that go down? I'm sure someone else wants to know too.
Yeah, it totally blew me away. Honestly, actually, I was so the guy that was the admin. So okay, I'm very rural. My village, as we call it, has only 1,200 people. Within
Oh,
10 miles of me, there's a town that has 12,000 people and 8,000 people, but I'm only an hour from Cincinnati, Dayton, and Columbus.
okay.
So, the group already, obviously 12,000 people in that town, 17,000 people in the group. There's people from all over the place in that group. But the guy that was the admin before, he owned a pizza place in my small village. And I sold that building, not for him, but for the owners. And I sold that building. And he liked what I had done and said about marketing that building. He liked what I was saying in the group. And he said, I just thought it would be a great way for you to be able to hop in and market your real estate. And I'm like, holy cow. I don't even like the guy, to be honest with you. Um, and I mean, because he stiffed the people who owned the building, and it was so filthy when he left. And I was just like, no wonder I get sick when I eat here. But so I really don't even like the guy, and his pizza is only so. But I was like, holy cow, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And everybody, okay, some people get pissy because I've changed the rules and I am pretty strict on them because I don't want all the negative bashing and stuff that goes on in other groups. I
Sounds like
reinstated,
good rules to have.
yeah, I reinstated the possibility of a bad restaurant review. He took that away because he was a restaurant owner. But I reinstated it and I said, so long as you are, polite and respectful about it, instead of saying, man, that server was a complete bitch. She doesn't deserve to be serving food. No, because you don't know what's going on in the rest of her life.
That's right.
And so I guess there was some pushback with that. Restaurant owners in the group were concerned, but I haven't had any issues. Um, and then other people, for the most part, have said, we love the page, the direction that the page is going. We love how positive you're keeping it. And one thing that I do weekly is I post the weekly events, weekend events in our community. And then if there's not anything in the community, I go to the next closest and the next closest. So, but we have people that are in Cincinnati and Dayton and Columbus that are in our group because they grew up here. So they're wanting to follow what's going on in the community.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's really important point to realize that it doesn't matter how big or small your area is or how many realtors are in your market, right? The whole idea is how can you separate yourself from the pack, right? And we're doing a training at 9 o'clock on a Monday morning, and look how many people are here. We're separating ourselves from the pack by that alone, right? And by just showing up and figuring out how can we always be better. And it's just that 1% better every day. And interestingly enough, Kat, um, actually, Kat and I met through social media on a Facebook group. And so that's a beautiful thing, right? And what's really interesting about this entire thing is it is about the social aspect of it, right? And Kat was actually in a real estate transaction that led her to be able to take over this group. But had she not created a relationship or had some sort of a connection with this person, that transition never would have occurred, right? It could have stopped at that transaction and nothing more had come. However, because of her relationship now, she is thriving and blooming even more, probably getting more transactions than you have in a long time. But if you're not consistent, it doesn't work.
Right.
Social selling only works if you are consistent. You have to consistently be showing up. You have to consistently be interacting with people. And it has to be a part of your business plan. This can't just be, oh, I'm just doing this for fun. We're in real estate. It is a business, right? If you want to be at the authority in your market, you have to continue to show up as that person by engaging, interacting, and being consistent with all of those things, whatever it is that you choose, whether it's a Facebook group or the starting off with the birthdays, whatever it is, it's just about consistently showing up and not getting stuck in the, oh, I don't have time for that today. If you're gonna do it, it has to be on your non-negotiables list or it goes off on the wayside like everyone else. And that's how you end up on the real estate roller coaster instead of the gain train, is what I like to call it. You're either consistently going or you're up and down all the time. But it's these types of things that will keep your business consistent and always on the rise and up and up. Does anyone else have anything that they'd like to share? Thank you so much for sharing that, Kat. That's huge and congratulations. That's amazing. Kristen asked, how do you keep it from taking over and taking hours a day to respond in a timely manner, but not be on a socials 24/7? That is such a good question. And Kat, since you just shared about your group, I'll let you share first and then I'll respond also. I love that. Great question, Kristen.
So I do spend a lot of time on socials because social media, it's free marketing, it's free advertising. I mean, if you're slow and you don't have any extra money to go do paid ads or to host an event or to do this massive, like I'm getting ready to do a football schedule magnet mailing, if you don't have the extra money to do that, social media should be your primary focus because it's free. It doesn't cost a postage stamp. It doesn't cost ink to print anything. It's free. And so when I first started, that was where I was at. And then just kind of coming back to it. So I probably do spend too much time on social media, but it's about 3 hours a day. But I spread it out. So it's the first thing I do after I have a glass of water and coffee. It's the first thing I do. Kristine got me on that water first thing. So it's the first thing I do in the morning. I check the page. And that page honestly only takes me about 30 minutes each time to go through because there's maybe 6 to 10 posts that I need to look at, make sure they follow the rules. maybe 8 to 10 people that I need to let in, and then just commenting, when I have something to say. I don't just comment to comment. So I do it at 3 different times of the day. I do it while I'm eating lunch. So that's still being proactive while you're still eating. Like I said, first thing in the morning. And then usually around 8 o'clock at night, it's like the last thing I do work wise, so that I can catch all those people that have come in after work and they're looking at things and asking to be added to the group.
Yeah, I love that. So do you almost kind of have a schedule?
Yeah, yeah, it is it's scheduled in my calendar because I have to time block everything. ADHD requires that.
Yes, I
um,
agree.
so or you shut down. It's just like I have too much to do. I'm going to watch TV today.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just time blocking and making it a priority. And even before I had the group, I would still post once a week to all of the local Facebook groups. It was the same thing, but I posted it because not everything is showing up in everybody's newsfeed from one local group. So I
That's
think
right.
I probably have like 10 local groups that I interact with. Um, and if someone says they're looking for a real estate agent, or they're looking for one thing right now that's a lot is an HVAC person. I have a great relationship with my HVAC person. We are constantly referring each other. And so, I'll tag him, it'll remind him, hey, Kat's the realtor that I love. And so it's just being involved and being intentional. And
Mm.
like you said, not just marketing. If someone posts that, some people just like to share the weird things that happen. Um, I got this weird thing that happened to me in the Walmart parking lot, and I'll just say, oh my gosh, that sounds so scary. Just something simple to show up, and it helps your Facebook algorithm. And another thing, too, don't just share something to Facebook or Instagram. You have to have words to go with it, at least 10 characters. Otherwise, it actually goes against your algorithm. So just being involved and being intentional and being consistent.
That's really it. And that's all I would say is just choose a realistic time for you. And if you know that you're going to get sucked into it, Kristen, myself included, 15 minutes, like set the timer. And that's all you have, or whatever it is. Otherwise, you'll find yourself getting just like sucked into just the scrolling, and all of a sudden you look up and it's been an hour and a half and you're like, oh my gosh, my whole life is, what happened? So again, I think going into it with the intention, and in the beginning it's going to be difficult. So I would even say like set the timer for 5 minutes and intentionally interact with people. Once you can go 5 minutes and stay on point with actually interacting with people, then you can start increasing it. But I know for me, especially, and I know I'm not the only one, it's very easy to go from an intention of, oh, I'm getting on to pull up this person and be interactive. And then next thing you know, I'm just aimlessly scrolling. So start with 5 minutes, set the timer and do it. And when the timer goes off at 5 minutes and you catch yourself and you're not interacting, you're scrolling, then you're like, oh crap. But at least now you caught yourself and it doesn't keep going. And then maybe try it again, in another hour or a couple of hours. But start with that timer and see if that helps. And just choose 2 or 3 times a day, like Kat said, and just go in for that allotted amount of time. Make sure it's time blocked on your calendar so that you don't spend too much time, that you don't forget it, that you don't push it off to another time. And be realistic. If you cannot do it 7 days a week, then don't set it on your calendar for 7 days a week, because then it just becomes a random thing that is just annoying that you don't do, right? It's like a task list that's the same thing every day that you're not going to do every day. Choose 3 to 5 days. If you can do 3 days a week, I think that's a great start. And then just 3 times a day, 3 times a week, and just start with that. It's all about just being consistent. Did you have something else, Kat?
Yeah, I was just going to say, check like on the local Facebook groups that you're involved in, check and see what the most active times of the day and the week are. And even on your personal page, if you haven't gone and changed your personal page to what is it, the professional mode, and then you get all the analytics, you absolutely need to do that, because you'll find that the goofiest post, a picture of my barn with the flag flying, got 500 interactions, where my post about real estate got 5. So you want to see what kind of posts are doing well on your page. And then of course, also the time of day, because that's going to be important. And if you use Meta to schedule your social media, pay attention to the times that Meta suggests, because that's the time people are most active on social media.
They're
So
telling you when they want you to post, so pay
yeah.
attention. That's great information. Thank you again, Kat. That's awesome. Well, if there are no if there are no other questions or comments, then I think it would be a great way to just start the week. I'm so grateful for each of you for being here. If you have questions, concerns, you can reach out to me. Get it done, Kristine on Instagram or Kristine Dunn on Facebook. The Fire Partners love you, and if we can help you in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you. Make it a great day.